Are you curious to know what cards are most valuable in Disney's Lorcana? Well, that's what this video is all about today. Welcome, Rebels. As Mr. Maleficent's here again, and we're going to talk about money today. We're talking about what cards are the top 10 most valuable cards for both First Chapter and Rise of the Bloodborne. Obviously, this listing excludes Enchanted Rares because Enchanted Rares we know are the most valuable cards due to the fact that they are the rarest cards and the art is really, really pretty. So let's jump into First Chapter first, and when we jump into First Chapter, we will go through the top 10, and I'm going to start with number 10 and work my way up to number 1. I'm going to give you rounded to the nearest quarter market values. There's no point in me saying that this card is exactly $5.71 because the market changes every day, and I'm just going to give you to the nearest quarter. So starting off with the First Chapter, coming in at number 10, we have John Silver, legendary card. And what is the biggest reasons why this card sits here at number 10 is it's legendary, and we know that we are getting a major bump in Treasure Planet cards come next set. People are starting to really dump this into their Emerald decks to try to utilize its abilities and etc. for the anticipation of Treasure Planet. John Silver comes across right now at about $4.75, and so this is number 10 when talking about the First Chapter. Moving on from John Silver, number 9 spot is occupied by A Whole New World. You might be surprised to see a super rare card on this board rather than all legendaries. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to be surprised even more down the line. This super rare card, being A Whole New World, is huge in the meta. Most steel decks run it, and the best deck in all of Disney Lorcana right now, the Steel Song deck, is running A Whole New World. The ability to just drop your hand, which generally people do when they're down to just a few cards that they don't like, or even this is the last card they play, and draw 7 new ones, is worth the risk of allowing your opponent to draw 7 new cards. It really can help you go into those deep combos and plays that you want to work out when dealing with Steel Song. And so this one comes across currently at about $5.25. Moving on to our next, number 8, is Brave Little Tailor Mickey Mouse. This card is kind of the face of the First Chapter. It's Mickey. Mickey is the flagship character of Disney, and this specific character was all over all kinds of promo merchandise and etc. when we first were getting all the news of Disney Lorcana. He is a legendary character, which obviously brings his rarity up. He is also, at the time of the First Chapter releasing, one of the highest lore characters in that he can quest for 4 lore. His evasive ability is really, really needed in the early game, and many people just like the art and etc. So much so that the art of it was actually included as the 4 cards in the booster sets for First Chapter. Brave Little Tailor Mickey is currently running about $6 on market. Coming in at number 7, we have Giant Fairy Tinkerbell. This card was way, way, way higher when the game first came out, but now that we've had a second set release and restocks and etc. have happened, this card has seen a little bit of fall in price. Not just a little, a lot. I can tell you right now, when I was at PAX just a few weeks ago, most vendors were selling this card for anywhere from $14 to $20, and this card's market value is now $675. So it's another super rare as well, which I said you probably see quite a few more. You might even see something more surprising. Coming in at number 6, we have Surfer Stitch. Surfer Stitch is a really, really great card, again, inside of that Steel Song meta. Many people play it. It's one of the top legendaries inside of the first chapter when talking about meta, and people love it and love Stitch all around. This card currently is clocking in at $9 roundabout, and I myself do not have a full playset of it. Number 5, we have Elsa, Spirit of Winter. This card actually, again, was way, way higher at one point in time. It was at one point in time one of the top 3 most valuable cards in the game. It has seen quite a bit of a dip in recent time. I'm not quite sure it is still used inside of Amethyst decks. Not exactly positive why it's seen a dip, other than maybe there's more of them out there now. But this card comes across at about $12. Coming in at number 4 is Belle, Strange But Special. I remember, again, when the game first released, this was a card everyone was seeking and looking for to play inside of your Sapphire decks. The Sapphire decks were great for mana ramp and getting tons of ink down, and when you get 10 ink with this Belle, it jumps up to being 5 total lore, which makes it the most in the game during the first chapter time frames. This Belle is coming across nowadays at about $13.50, so a reasonably priced card nowadays. Coming in now at number 3, we have Hades Infernal Schemer. This card is still being run in a lot of Sapphire Ruby meta decks. The ability that Hades can just take a card on the opposing side and put it face down into somebody's inkwell is just great. Its 2 lore capability also makes it a very powerful card, and once again, it is a legendary, which adds to the rarity of it. Hades Infernal Schemer comes across right now at about $15.50 market value. The second card is one of my all-time favorites, and one of the biggest reasons why I took the moniker Mr. Maleficent. Maleficent Monstrous Dragon is coming across as the second most valuable in the first chapter. It is again a legendary, and it is once again still heavily used. The fact that a card this powerful is inkable is a big turn-on for people playing Ruby decks. It's in the Ruby Sapphire deck a lot of the time, and it's even paired with Ruby and Amber a lot. The Dragonfire ability of when you drop down Maleficent, you can just banish a chosen character as long as they don't have ward, and once again, the stat line of a 7 attack power with 2 lore possibility for questing makes this a very, very sought after card, and it is still, like we're saying here, one of the highest valued cards. It currently sits about $29 if you are looking for this card out in the wilderness. In the top spot for first chapter is held by Rapunzel, gifted with healing. She has actually fallen massively since the game first came out. She used to be over $50 if you wanted to just buy a single of her. That is no longer the case for her. She is now clocking in at about $30.50, and she is the top of the first chapter. She is not the top card in Lorcana altogether, but she is the top card in first chapter. Once again, a legendary. She's very used in the Steel Song deck, just like Stitch is, just like A Whole New World is, just like Tinkerbell are. So She allows you to heal 3 damage from a character, and then you get to draw a card for every damage removed this way. Gives you healing ability as well as draw support for only a 4 cost and an inkable card. A super excellent card, one of the top cards in the game, still even with a second set out, it's one of the top cards, which is why it's holding at least a value of around that $30 mark. These are the top 10. Are you surprised by any of them? Are you disappointed to not see one on there? I can tell you one that I would have thought was going to still stay on there was Be Prepared, but Be Prepared has fallen down outside of the top 10 in cost value. So, curious to see what ones you guys are looking at and saying you're surprised with. 2 super rares in the top 10, and obviously both excellent cards used in the top meta deck, so that would explain why. But no color was left off the board, as we do have Emerald, we do have Amethyst, we have Sapphire, Ruby, Steel, and Amber. If you want to see more videos like this, or more videos on decks and basics, you can look here and quest on, my friends.